My dear doctor friends, this is Dr. Jatan from Krishnagar. Welcome to the channel Geo Jatan. Geo stands for Gynecology and Obstetrics. Medical science needs continuous update of knowledge and recent advances. We doctors cannot leave our hospital and go for conferences frequently. YouTube has seen tremendous explosion of knowledge in different fields of science and technology, but not in the field of medicine, including obstetrics and gynecology. So my dear friends, this is my sincere attempt to bridge the gap. Hope you will definitely like it and it will enrich you. So my dear doctor friends, my name is Dr. Jatan Kumar Raychaudhuri and today's topic of discussion is uterine fibroids. I am highly indebted to the textbook of Berek and Novak's Gynecology, Williams Gynecology, Clinical Gynecologic Endocrinology and Infertility, ACOG and RCOG journals. Uterine fibroids, also known as leiomyoma or myoma, is the commonest tumor of uterus and is the most frequent indication for hysterectomy throughout world. It is a benign monoclonal tumor of the smooth muscle cells of the myometrium. It also contains large amount of extracellular matrix consisting of collagen, elastin, fibronectin and proteoglycan. So basically each fibroid is made up of concentric smooth muscle fibers and fibrous connective tissue surrounded by a vascular pseudocapsule. The pseudocapsule is the outer compressed connective tissue separating the fibroid from the normal myometrium. They may be single or multiple and also they may vary in size. The incidence also varies in communities and also with age. In African American women, the incidence is 60% by age 35 and 80% by age 50. Whereas in white women, the incidence is 40% by age 35 and 70% by age 50. Etiopathogenesis. Although the precise etiology is still unknown, the latest studies have confirmed that each fibroid arises from a single progenitor myocyte. That means a single myometrial smooth muscle stem cell. And for multiple fibroids, each fibroid arises from independent progenitor myocyte. The different factors implicated are genetic factors, hormonal factors and growth factors. So what are the genetic factors? Nearly 40 to 50% fibroids display some chromosomal abnormalities in the form of deletions, duplications and translocations in chromosomes 6, 7, 12 and 14. Hypoxia associated with menstruation may be an inducing factor for the mutation. And these abnormalities ultimately result in abnormal high growth and angiogenic factors and altered estrogen and progesterone receptor status. There are genetic differences in leiomyoma and leiomyosarcoma, suggesting that they have different origin, indicating that the leiomyosarcoma do not result from the malignant degeneration of leiomyoma. Genetic mutation may cause hereditary leiomyomatosis and renal cell cancer. The role of hormones. After their genesis, fibroids grow under the influence of estrogen and progesterone. The role of estrogen is established by the following observations. Fibroids are rare before puberty, appear during reproductive periods and regress after menopause. Not necessarily estrogen level has to be high. Estrogen level may be the same for fibroid and non-fibroid patients, but the fibroids contain higher E2 receptors than normal myometrium aromatase activity is also high in fibroids than normal myometrium. Factors that increase overall lifetime exposure of estrogen, such as obesity, early menarche, and PCOS, increase the incidence. And factors that decrease the overall lifetime exposure of estrogen, like smoking, exercise, and increased parity, reduce the incidence. Role of progesterone. The role of progesterone is confirmed by the following observations. Fibroids have higher concentration of progesterone receptors A and B than normal myometrium. Nowadays, progesterone is considered more important than estrogen in stimulating the fibroid growth because progesterone causes cellular hyperplasia and hypertrophy along with extracellular matrix accumulation. Estrogen basically potentiates the action of progesterone by upregulating the progesterone receptors. The highest mitotic counts are found in fibroids during peak progesterone secretion. And anti-progesterone mifepristone can cause reduction of size of fibroids. Similarly, GnRH agonist can cause atrophy of fibroids. However, if progesterone is supplemented, it may prevent the atrophy of the fibroid. Role of growth factors. Growth factors produced locally by the smooth muscle cells and fibroblasts appear to stimulate the fibroid growth. Basically, estrogen and progesterone influence the fibroid growth by regulating these growth factors. Transforming growth factor beta and the basic fibroblast growth factor increase smooth muscle cell proliferation. Epidermal growth factor and platelet derived growth factor increase the DNA synthesis. Transforming growth factor beta stimulates synthesis of extracellular matrix, whereas transforming growth factor beta, epidermal growth factor and insulin-like growth factor promote mitogenesis. Vascular endothelial growth factor and the basic fibroblast growth factor promote angiogenesis. Risk factors for initiation and growth of uterine fibroids. Age. The incidence of fibroids increase with age. The African American women develop fibroids at an earlier age than the white women. Greater exposure to endogenous hormones like early menarche, it causes increased risk of fibroid. Family history. First degree relatives of women having fibroids have 2.5 times increased risk of developing fibroids. So it is more common in monozygotic twins. Ethnicity. African Americans have greater risk, develop fibroids at a younger age, and they develop numerous, larger and symptomatic fibroids than the white women. And this difference may be due to genetic, altered hormonal metabolism, diet or environment. Risk factors for initiation and growth of fibroids. Weight. The risk of fibroids increase with increasing BMI. Obesity increases the conversion of adrenal androgen to estrogen and also side by side reduce sex hormone binding globulin, thereby increasing the biological estrogen activity. A diet rich in red meat increases fibroid and a vegetarian diet reduces. However, it is not clearly demonstrated. Exercise and smoking decrease risk by lowering the estrogen level. Oral contraceptives. OCP does not increase fibroid growth, nor does it influence new fibroid formation. Postmenopausal hormone therapy. Mostly it does not increase fibroid growth. However, depending on the dose of progesterone, some fibroid may grow. When 5 mg medroxyprogesterone acetate, it causes more growth than when it is 2.5 mg. Parity. Low parity increases risk while high parity reduces the risk because during puerperium, the process of remodeling results in apoptosis and involution, reducing the blood supply of the myometrium. Menstruation. Frequent mucosal injury with stromal repair during menstruation may release growth factors that promote the high frequency of fibroids. FIGO classified fibroid as submucous, other and hybrid. The submucosal includes 0, which is pedunculated intracavitary, 1, which is less than 50% intramural, 2, which is more than equal to 50% intramural. Then comes other, 3, which contacts endometrium but 100% intramural, 4th is 100% intramural, 5 is subserosal more than equal to 50% intramural, 6 subserosal less than 50% intramural, 7 subserosal pedunculated, and 8 others, which include cervical parasitic. Then comes hybrid leiomyoma, which impacts both the endometrium and serosa, like 2 to 5. This is 2 to 5 hybrid. The two numbers are listed separated by a hyphen. By convention, the first refers to the relationship with the endometrium, while the second refers to the relationship to the serosa. One example is 2 to 5, each with less than half the diameter in the endometrial and peritoneal cavities respectively. Considering anatomy, basically they are intramuscular, subserous, submucous, cervical, broad ligament, and miscellaneous fibroids. Commonest type of fibroid is intramural, around 70 to 75%. They lie within the walls of the uterus, and most myomas arise intramural but later grow outwards to become subserous or inwards to become submucous. 10% of myomas are subserous and protrude on the surface covered by very thin myometrium or sometimes peritoneum only. They can be sessile or pedunculated. They have least symptoms. However, pedunculated fibroid may undergo torsion. They are often confused with solid ovarian tumor. Sometimes the pedunculated fibroid may gradually outgrow its blood supply, and to keep the myoma from undergoing complete ischemic necrosis, the omentum becomes adherent to the peritoneal surface to provide whatever blood supply is needed. And rarely the fibroid may get totally detached from uterus when it is called parasitic fibroid. In submucous variety, fibroid grows towards the cavity and is covered by endometrium. Incidence is 10 to 15%. They are notorious for symptoms like heavy bleeding, intermenstrual bleeding, infertility, and abortions. They may develop pedicles when it is called fibroid polyp. Cervical fibroid is rare, 1% only. In a central cervical fibroid, uterus sits on the top of the expanded cervix, and they are notorious for pressure effects on bladder and urethra, leading to frequency and retention, on rectum, leading to constipation and defecatory problem, on ureter, leading to hydronephrosis. In pregnancy, cervical fibroid may cause difficult labor and difficult cesarean section. Broad ligament fibroid may be pseudo, arising from the lateral wall, grow between the layers of the broad ligament, or true when it is arising from the mesenchymal cells of the broad ligament. Leiomyomatosis are extrauterine smooth muscle tumors. Intravenous leiomyomatosis which extends into the uterine and other pelvic veins. Benign metastasizing leiomyoma which originating from uterine leiomyoma disseminate to lungs, brain, etc. And disseminated peritoneal leiomyomatosis with widespread peritoneal nodules. The treatment of which is TH plus BSO with removal of all peritoneal nodules. However, the recurrence is high. Pathology. Myomas are round or oval, well circumscribed, firm and pearly white tumors. The cut section shows whole appearance and vascular periphery and least vascular central part. Microscopy shows interlacing smooth muscle bundles with swelled pattern. Degeneration in myomas. The least vascular central part outgrows its blood supply, leading to necrosis and degeneration. Hyaline. It is the commonest type when it is a soft and elastic with loss of this hold appearance. Microscopy showing interlacing smooth muscle bundles and swelled pattern. apart from hyaline degeneration, the other degenerations are cystic. Liquefaction of the hyaline material in the center of the large myoma leads to formation of cystic spaces. Myxomatous. It follows hyaline and cystic degeneration with mucus-like fluid-filled spaces. Fatty. Fat deposition in central part of myoma with yellowish discoloration. Calcification seen in long-standing fibroid in older age along the peripheral course of the vessels, and sometimes in a diffused form when it is called honeycomb, and in an advanced form the leiomyoma becomes solidly calcified when it is called womb-stone. Red degeneration usually seen in pregnancy and puerperium, and it is related to increased vascularity in pregnancy. There is thrombosis of the vessels supplying the myoma, resulting in infarction and extravasation of blood, resulting in the reddish discoloration. The myoma becomes tense and tender with fishy odor. Clinically, the patient presents with pain, fever and uterine tenderness. Diagnosis is made from known history of fibroid. USG may help in diagnosis. As it is self-limiting, conservative treatment is done. Even if laparotomy done with some other suspicion and red degeneration found, no surgery is done. Sarcomatous change. Time-old belief is that 0.1% myoma, especially the submucosal variety in 6th decade onward, may undergo sarcomatous change. However, recent genetic study shows that they arise de novo. Histological variants of fibroid. All tumors with less than 5 mitotic figures per 10 high power fields are considered benign. All tumors with more than 10 mitotic figures per 10 high power fields are considered malignant, and those in between can be called smooth muscle tumors of uncertain malignant potential or STUMP. 5 to 10 mitotic figures per 10 high power field. Thank you for your patient watching. If you like the video, please subscribe. Namaste.